Howdy folks, a little birdie told me that you are looking for a baller, fun, reliable daily driver that won't leave you stranded. Well, have I got the news for you. I prepared a list of 9 cars that fit that description. But without further ado, let's get into it. My name's Asher and welcome to Amateur Hour. Section 1, Japanese. When I say the words Honda Civic, what comes to your head? The EK9 Type R, Shingo Choji's EG6 from Initial D, or maybe your local dipshit with a straight pipe D series that can't stop banging the rev limiter at 3 in the morning. What if I told you there's a Civic Si that people are still sleeping on? What if I told you it was powered by an illustrious K-Series motor? What I just described to you is the Honda EP3 Civic Si. Out the box, it comes with 160 little ponies out of a K20 A3 with twin cam VTEC, baby! Unfortunately, because this is an A3, it does have a bit lower of a compression, only revving up to 6,800 RPM, which, to be honest, seeing that my car only revs up to 65, and I'm having plenty of fun with this thing, I'd say 6,800 is a freaking bargain. It has a funny shifter that's mounted to the dash, which is actually really useful in hard driving because literally the distance of the steering wheel to the shift knob is like this. Literally like a couple inches. It's a 5-speed manual. It's a K-Series, so it's going to be super reliable. It looks like an egg, and as you know, I just love egg cars. Personally, if I had one, I'd get some BC Racing coilovers, maybe some Koenig wheels, get an exhaust on it, maybe an intake, and then maybe a short shifter. And I think that's it. They're really great cars. I actually really considered getting one for a while. You know, some cars have their funny features. The Fiat 500L came with an espresso machine. The old Mercedes E-Class wagons came with back seats that face towards the rear windshield so you can flip people off. Well, this car comes with a table. That's right, I put the Honda CR-V on this list. I think the one that you really want to try and look for is the one from 2002 because it comes with a 2.4 liter K24 A1. It comes with 4-wheel drive and a manual transmission if you can find it. Now I can already hear you saying, Asher, these don't look really baller at all. To that I say, no one said it was easy being a baller. A car is an extension of yourself, and as such, you must put time and effort into making it look nice, thus making it yours and separating yourself from everybody else out there. That's what makes it special, guys. What if being a baller was just the friends we made along the way? It's got tons of room for your LARPing gear or Warhammer figurine collection, in case you're into that. Unfortunately, the K24A1 only has VTEC on the intake side. The 5-speed does have longer gear ratios as opposed to the 6-speed from the TSX. I really love these things. People raise them, people slam them. My buddy Tyler has one. You've seen Tyler, you know him, you love him. He's great, he's awesome. I love him so much. That thing legitimately like keeps up. I'm not even joking. And because it's on the Civic platform, it handles phenomenally. And because it's a K-Series, it's got so much aftermarket support. Now, if I were to have one, I think I'd slam it down on the ground. I think I'd put some nice, like 3 spokes on it. If I had an infinite amount of money, what I would do is I'd keep the K24 block and I'd get a Honda Civic Type R head from Japan and I'd slap that on there and make a Frankenstein K-Series. You can get the torque out of a K24 and then you get the high revving out of a K20. So, food for thought. I think they're really cool. And did I mention it comes with a table? Like, come on, dude. Who doesn't want a table with their car? Up next is last, but certainly not least, for our Japanese princess section, there would be the Infiniti M35/45. Now, I can hear you moaning and groaning because Infinitis don't have the best reputation, but don't get it twisted because you, dear viewer, are not of the ghetto public nuisance mentality, right? If you are, go away. I don't want you here. Get out of here. I don't want to have anything to do with you. If you're watching this and you like going to takeovers and being loud and obnoxious, go away. We don't claim you. So the generations for this Infiniti M45 is going to be the Y34 and Y50 generation. So both the Y34 and Y50 generations of this Infiniti came with the YK45 V8, which sounds phenomenal. I love how they sound so much. I mean, it's a 4.5 liter V8. What can you do wrong here? It sounds amazing. For the Y50 generations, you did also get the option of a VQ 35 or 37, depending on which year. That's the 350Z and 370Z motor. Great motors, but they do take some effort to sound good. I personally love VQs. I really wanted a G35 for a while, a G35 sedan, but unfortunately insurance doesn't like cars that get taken to street takeovers. Another thing to note is that for the Y50 generation, the 4.5 liter V8 is pretty rare. They are out there. I think they look great. For the Y34 generation, it only came with a 5-speed automatic, which, I mean, for a car this big and this heavy, you're probably not going to be throwing it around canyons anyways. For the Y50 generations, they did come with a 5 or 7-speed automatic, again, depending on the year. They're bigger than their G37 and G35 little brothers, which, I mean, it is a competitor to the 5 Series, so, I mean, it makes sense. They're really reliable, and again, I think they're great candidates for VIP builds. Put some air suspension on it, put it on some work VSKFs. I know they're common and overdone, but it's for a good reason, because KFs look fucking baller. They're comfortable, they're boaty, they're big, they're awesome. Lots of space to have. Honorable mentions for this Japanese princess category: the Lexus LS400 or 430, the Lexus GS300, 400 or 430. Lexuses are awesome. And then the Acura TSX wagon and sedan. These things are awesome. If you want a K24, that's cool. I would say get for one of these. Unfortunately, the wagons only came in automatic, which is fine, because if you get the wagon, you're gonna stance it out regardless. So, section 2, European. What if I told you for a pretty reasonable price, you could get a turbo, 5-cylinder wagon with all-wheel drive from the European market? I am, of course, talking about the Volvo V50 T5 all-wheel drive wagon. You thought I was going to put an Audi on this list? Fuck no. No Audis on this list. I'm sorry. The V50 T5 came with a 2.5 liter turbo 5-cylinder that is in this car right here. It sounds phenomenal. This is what it sounds like. Funny thing too is that this is actually the same engine from the Ford Focus RS from Europe. So they're pretty cool. It's got a 5-speed automatic transmission slosh box. That's what I have in here. It sucks. Really, I'm telling you. Try to find the 6-speed manual. I'm telling you, you will have so much of a better time. That doesn't even make sense. You will have such a good time if you take your time and find the 6-speed manual. I kick myself in the face for not finding one of these with a 6-speed. I'm telling you, do not get the automatic. They are hard to find with the all-wheel drive and the manual, and they're really, really hard to find with the R Design and the all-wheel drive and the manual. But they're out there and they're available. Limited production, but because no one really knows about them, they're still relatively inexpensive. So look. I'm telling you, this is one of those wagons that you're going to want to take your time looking for just to find that perfect spec. It comes with Haldex all-wheel drive. It's pretty much just a baby V70R, and they're pretty reliable. Just keep up with maintenance. I will tell you, Volvos are not easy to work on from personal experience. That's like the only con I can think about this. Also pretty niche, so finding parts is going to be a little difficult. It's on the same platform like my C30 and the C70 and the S40. All of them came with T5 options, at least in the US. I know in Europe they came with a whole slew of diesels, 4 cylinders, diesel 5 cylinders even, I think. Lower it, put some nice wheels on it, intake, exhaust, and you're pretty much set. Maybe a tune. I still need to tune mine. Sometimes I wish I got the V50 over my C30 just because of the space. My C30 is great, but the V50 is a wagon. And I know whoever's watching this is going to, someone here is a wagon nut. I'm looking at you. I really think wagons are the superior form of motor transportation. I mean, like, just kind of think about it, right? As opposed to an SUV, a wagon's lower to the ground, has lower center of gravity. It handles like a sedan. It's not big and boaty. There are very few SUVs that I look at where I'm like, wow, that would be really cool. I actually really want one of those. You know how many times I say that about wagons? I don't know. All the time? Wagons are awesome. I'm telling you, they're the superior form of transportation. Anyways, the next car on this list is, unsurprisingly, the BMW E46 325i. That's right, we got another wagon, baby! It comes with an M54 B25 inline-6 motor, making 192 horsepower. Got a 5-speed manual or a 5-speed auto. Again, look for the manuals. They're harder to find, but for a good reason. They're great. There's a lot of aftermarket support because it is on the E46 platform, and it's got nearly 50-50 weight distribution, as most BMWs do. It's the ultimate homie hauler. It's modern enough to be comfortable, but it's still analog enough to, you know, feel old, but in a good way. My buddy's buddy has one in really good condition, and I'm somewhat jealous that he has it, because one of my dreams is to get an E46 wagon and swap the S52, which is the M3 motor in it, 6-speed transmission, put an M3 body kit on it. And to be totally honest too, you can keep this completely stock, and as long as you have the 3 pedals, people are gonna look at you and go like, that dude right there in the wagon, he knows ball. He knows what he's doing. And you want to be that guy, right? You want to be that guy because you want to know what happens when you're that guy. It means you're a fucking baller, baby. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying. The M54 is a pretty much bulletproof engine. Just check the cooling system, because 20 plus years of sitting isn't super great for plastic and rubber. So just make sure the cooling system has been refreshed. Check for electrical stuff. In case wagons aren't your thing, the entire E46 platform is just riddled with fantastic cars. You can get an E46 3 Series in a coupe, you can get it in a sedan, you can get it in a convertible, and you can get it like a wagon, like I just talked about. But if you do go for a convertible, a coupe, or a sedan, I would shoot to try and get the 330i, because it just, you know, has a bigger displacement, 3 liters instead of 2.5, and it's the most powerful of the M54 variation. If you really like hunting for a car, and I mean like really hunting, like looking every day, scouring the internet for like a good deal, I would say look for a 330i ZHP, which gave you a bump in power. It's like 10 horsepower or something like that, because it has different cams. It gave you more sportier suspension. It gave you a body kit, which, unpopular opinion, I think the ZHP front bumper looks better than the M3 front bumper. I'm sorry. I said it, and I'm not going to take it back. I just think it looks better. Finding one with a 6-speed manual for under 10 grand is really hard. It's possible. They're out there. You just really have to look. You know, everyone talks about wanting to get a BMW or a Mercedes or an Audi, or if you're like me, a Volvo. But I feel like Volkswagens tend to get swept under the rug a little bit. I personally am a fan of Volkswagens. I really like Golf GTIs, and I really like Jetta GLIs. So that's why I've lumped all generations 4 through 6 into this list. For the Mark IV generations, I would say try and find like the most recent one, which would be a 2006. If you want to be special, you should get the 24 valve 2.8 liter VR6 one. Yes, they're heavier than the 1.8T, and yes, they do have a little less aftermarket support, but they sound phenomenal. Everyone is arguing what sounds better, V6 or inline 6, inline 6 or flat 6. But I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that neither of them sound the best. I think the VR6 sounds the best, and you can argue with the wall with that, because I'm not budging at all. A VR6 has such a narrow V shape to it that it all fits under one head, which makes it super compact. Volkswagen literally put them in everything. It's called a VR6 because it's a mix between a V6 and an inline 6. They're really smooth. Again, they sound phenomenal. 1.8T models definitely have more tuning potential and aftermarket support. But I will say it's overdone, albeit for a good reason. If you really want to, you can throw a turbo or a supercharger on a VR6, but this is a daily driver. You're not going to want to do that unless like you really want to and you trust yourself, which if this is your first car, I would say definitely don't do that. They can handle pretty decent power on stock Eternals. I definitely prefer the VR6 over the 1.8T. Late Mark V GTIs, the ugly older brother of the Mark VI. I would say stick to the most newest Mark V you can find, which would be the 2008.5 and 2009 years. They got the newer TSI engine, which came in the Mark VI. Make sure the recall for the timing chain tensioners have been done. They are notoriously weak. I'm really only putting the Mark V in here for the R32 because it was the last Volkswagen Golf that was sold with a VR6. Came with a 3.2 liter VR6, 6-speed manual or 7-speed dual clutch transmission. They are noticeably cheaper than the Mark IVs because they're ugly. But that's great because you can still get a
3.2 liter
VR6 with all-wheel drive and a 6-speed manual in a Golf. I would say definitely worth the buy. And finally, the Mark VI GLI and GTIs. By the way, all of the information from before applies to the Jetta GLI, except for the R32 stuff, because the Jetta, they didn't sell a sedan R32 here. Unfortunately, they could have, I think it probably would have sold pretty decently, but unfortunately they didn't. The Mark 6, they came with a 2-liter turbo, making 200 to 210 horsepower, depending on the year. I personally like the GLI because it's a little more niche. I think the pre-facelift Mark 6 GLI looks cooler, but the facelift does offer 10 more horsepower. It's a German car, so even though it is pretty well built, you still should look at maintenance records and whatnot, especially the timing chain tensioners. I would say the Mark 6 is like the last of like kind of an analogish driving style while also being more modern. They come with these really nice like plaid seats. Honorable mentions for European gems would be the E36, 318 IS, and the 325 IS. I will say, if you really want to be cool, get the 4-cylinder. Unpopular opinion, get the 4-cylinder. That's what BMW used in British touring car. That's literally it. Another good one is the W211 Mercedes E500. Single cam on both sides, 5-liter V8. Super reliable, super bulletproof. Just check your stuff. And then any E39 BMW, I would say. Aside from the M5, I know the M5 has its issues. The 540i also has its issues, but it's still like old, naturally aspirated BMW motors, so they're not terrible. Again, just check on maintenance. Last but not least, it was coming. It was coming. It's time to talk about some American Everyone likes talking about Ford Focuses, the STs, the RSs, the SVTs, which are actually pretty cool. And while they are great cars, I recommend looking into a little bit more of a funny looking hot hatch. I'm of course talking about the Saturn Ion Redline. I'm being serious. Hear me out. It came with a supercharged 2-liter Ecotec motor, pumping out 205 itty bitty little baby ponies and 200 pounds-feet of turkeys. It's front-wheel drive. It's got a close ratio 5-speed manual, and I mean it's a Saturn, so it's gonna have mixed reliability. Check maintenance records. The differential roll pin, from my 15 minutes of research, seems to be the biggest issues with these. Make sure it's been replaced with a thicker one, because if that thing snaps, you'll have to replace the entire transmission. It's an early 2000s Chevy with an Ecotec, so just check maintenance records. You know, if it's well taken care of, it's going to be well taken care of, and it's going to run great. As with most cars, actually, that applies to most cars. It's not just, you know, early to mid 2000s GM vehicles. Would I personally get one? No. Is it funky and baller? Absolutely. You know, we've had a lot of smaller performance-based cars on this list, and while that's fine, what if you like big boaty cars? How many boaty cars have we had on this list? What, one? What if you like having space? What if you like having a freaking bench seat so you can cuddle up next to your lady or man? If that's what you're into, whatever floats your boat, I guess. If any of that described you, then may I introduce to you 3 cars, 3 Fords, 3 big boaty Fords. I'm of course talking about the Panther platform. Well, what cars come on the Panther platform? Well, you have the Ford Crown Victoria. Pretty bare bones. A lot of them were cop cars. They're dead reliable. They're pretty comfortable and cushy because it's body on frame, and it's got a lot of aftermarket support because people literally do everything to these. People raise them up, people slam them, people rally them, people race them around a racetrack, probably. But what if you're not really into bare bone stuff? What if you want something a little nicer, a little more sophisticated? Well, then you're gonna want a Mercury Grand Marquise. Is it Marquis or Marquise? I don't know. You know what I really love? I love when American brands put like fancy sounding words in their fancy car names, even though like probably most of the people buying those cars have no idea how to pronounce them. I don't even know how to pronounce this. The Mercury Grand Marquis is like if the Ford Crown Victoria preferred wine over beer. It's more luxurious. It's got plushy leather seats. It was marketed towards the upper middle class, but it's not quite peak American luxury. While it was marketed towards the upper middle class, it's not the creme de la creme. You know what the creme de la creme is? I'm talking about the Lincoln Town Holy shit. Talk about a voice crack. I am talking about the Lincoln Town Car. The Lincoln Town Car is if the Mercury Grand Marquis preferred an aged champagne over wine. Even if the Lincoln Town Car liked wine, the Lincoln Town Car would swirl the wine around in the glass, sniff it, take a sip, and tell you how much it likes the flavor profile. The Grand Marquis pretends to be fancy. It says, let the wine breathe, while not really knowing what letting it breathe does. The Town Car is peak American luxury. Leather, leather, leather. And did I mention leather? I would totally get one of these as like a daily cruiser. They look so comfortable. And if you find one with the L moniker, it's got a longer wheelbase and it has air suspension. All of these are powered by the 4.6 liter Ford modular V8, so it's dead reliable. All of these are dirt cheap. It doesn't matter which one you get. If you like to party, get a Crown Vic. If you want to be comfortable, get a Grand Marquis. If you want excessive, peak American gun-toting luxury, get a Town Car. And did I mention they have a bench seat? All of them. Right? Just think about it. You're driving, boom, hand on the steering wheel. You got your lady next to you, just like cuddled up. What's to not like about that? I mean, Ford Crown Vics, you can literally do anything to, but if you're gonna get the Grand Marquis or the Town Car, I'd say just slam it. Make it VIP build, throw it on some air suspension, make it look baller. You know, we've only had cars on this list. And when I was making this list, when I was writing the script, when I was making my notes, I felt kind of bad. I felt bad for you truck nuts. Don't think I forgot about you guys. Don't think I forgot about you little truck nuts. I know you guys like your trucks and your little nuts on your trucks for some reason. I would get truck nuts. You know what? I might actually get truck nuts for my C30 now that I think about it. Truck nuts for the C30 would be sick. This wouldn't be a list with American cars on it if I didn't have at least one truck. If there wasn't at least one little trucky boy on here, right? It's a smaller truck. It's a mini truck, some may say. But it's got a bed the same size as a GMC Sierra, which has a cab 3 times its size. So you're still going to be getting the same amount of work done with it. Dare I say, this truck is the Miata of the truck world. You know, I'm of course talking about the Ford motherfucking Ranger. I would say get the 3rd generation, made between 1998 to 2012. It came with a whole slew of engine options. You can get a 2.3 to a 2.5 liter inline 4. Great on fuel, obviously not a lot of power. It also came with a 3 liter V6, very reliable, very peppy, very common workhorse. Or you could get the big boy, the big honka-tonka, the honka-tonka mama, the honka-tonka mama V6, the 4-liter V6. That's pretty big for a 6-cylinder. I know Porsche makes a 4-liter flat 6, but who cares about flat 6? Who cares about a flat 6 when you can get a V6? A V6 that actually does stuff, that's useful, that can help you. That's great for off-roading, overlanding. That's the creme de la creme. It's the most powerful option, of course. Most torqueous option, of course. And it's great for towing and overlanding. It's got 207 horsepower. They all came in 4-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. And it came with a 5-speed manual or a 4 to 5-speed automatic, depending on the year. Of course, try to get the manual. The manuals are great. Manuals are your friend. They really are your friend. The automatics are fine too. They're all really great motors and transmissions. And because Ford was partnered with Mazda, it's all like reliable and shit, you know? Ford was like cooking some stuff up in the early to mid 2000s. I don't know like what they were taking. I don't know what drugs they were taking, but they need to start taking those drugs again, because I feel like aside from the Mustang, Ford is kind of like not doing so great. Come say something to the people. Tell them what you think.
This is a really cool car for like $10,000 or whatever he bought it for.
I don't know if that was genuine or not, because he's always shitting on it. Anyways, let's get on to trims, because there's a lot of trims. XL is the base trim, no AC, manual windows. I don't even think this came with a radio. It also has manual locks. Again, it's like super bare bones. Like, this is something that I would only get for a ranch truck or if I hated myself. The XLT is the next trim. It's like the XL, but the T. It comes with AC, it comes with power windows, comes with power locks. It does come with a radio. It comes with chrome bumpers, and it comes with cruise control, which is surprising for like almost a base model Ford Ranger. These are mostly used for work trucks. So if you do buy a previously used Ford Ranger as a work truck, it's probably the XLT. You get the Splash or the Edge models. They do have a bit of a taller stance. The FX4 is like the top spec creme de la creme one. Obviously, they're going to be hard to find. in great condition and for a decent amount of money. But they came with Bilstein shock, a limited slip differential, and locking axles. And also, did I mention metal skid plates for like overlanding or rock crawling even? These things are really cool actually. And they only came with four-wheel drive. People raise these, people lower them, people slam them, people keep them stock because they're just fantastic trucks as they are. It's almost like they're like a truck version of Miata. People say Miata's always the answer. How about Ford Ranger's always the answer? Honorable mentions for the American boat section: Chevy Cobalt SS, hard to find in good condition with a manual. Lincoln Mark 8, which is on the Panther platform. It's just the coupe version of the town car, and the SN95 Mustang because it comes with the beautiful illustrious 4.6 liter modular V8, which is reliable. That's gonna be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please go check out my other stuff. I'm really proud of it. There's not a single video on this channel that I'm not proud of. Subscribe if you like anything car related or you just want to see me do some weird stuff. Anyways, that's all I have to say. Peace and love. God bless. And I'll see you in the next one. Later, pimp.